Today we are going to start the concept of arrays. Arrays is the concept which is used in every programming language for storage. That's why array is also called as non-primitive data type. But first of all, one question is there, why we use the concept of array in any programming language? That means, what is the need for using the array in programming language like C or C++? As we know, the variables that we used till now are capable of storing only one value at a time. That means what? If there is a situation when we want to store and display the roll number of 100 students, for this, what we do? For example, if we take method 1, we will declare 100 different variables, isn't it? To store the roll number of 100 students. What we will do next? We will assign a value to each variable and then we will display the variable, isn't it? For displaying the value. This will be our method 1. That means, as we know, one variable can store a single value at a time. That means if we have to store more than one value, that means if we are taking this example for 100 students, we have to use how many variables? We have to use 100 different variables for assigning the value and for displaying the value. Isn't it? Is that clear? So, till now, there is the method 1. But, don't you think we can perform our task by the above 3 steps? But, just imagine how difficult it would be to handle so many variables in the program, and the program will become very lengthy, isn't it? So what is the solution for it? Whether we will go for this method or we have any other method? Yes. Now what we do, we will take the concept for this. What is the solution for this is, for the above problem we take a variable that we call a array variable. For example, we give the name roll and we suffix it with the brackets and put 100 there, and we will take that variable of type int. The size of the variable is 100 now, so it is capable of storing the 100 integer values, isn't it? So no need to use the 100 variables for the 100 values, isn't it? So roll is now an array for holding the how much data? For holding the 100 students data for the roll number, which is a type of int. Is that clear? So now we can say how it will store. So there is a diagrammatical representation we can see here. When we declare a variable as an array variable, it will automatically make these boxes inside the memory. It will take, first initialize it at roll 0, then roll 1, then roll 2, and give the different indexes to them. That is, it starts from 0 and ends with 99 for our case. So this is the concept which is called as indices of an array. That means you have to remember all the array which is declared from 0 to 99 in our case will have indices, and the row with the brackets putting indices inside the bracket are the elements of an array. That means my element is represented by, in this case, row bracket 0, right? And one more thing you have to remember, array always starts from 0 to L minus 1, where L is the width for given array. For example, in my case, width was 100. There were 100 students. So, my array will start from 0 to 99. And how the elements will be represented? Elements will be represented with the array name with the index. For example, if I want the second number or I want the second element, so index will be what? Roll 1, because it starts from 0. Now we can define the array now. By the above problem, we can define this array as an array is a collection of similar type of data items, and each data is called an element of an array. The data type of the element may be any valid type like char, int, float, or the element of array share the same variable name, but each element has different index number, which is also known as subscript. Isn't clear? So, array is collection of similar type. For example, we take name of the 10 persons, roll number of the 10 persons. Isn't it? This is the example. We will take the examples and we will do it practically later in this lecture. So, keep watching. So, what we are saying? We are clearing the concept of array. So, array is nothing but it is a collection of similar type of data. When we do the practicals, we must have a knowledge about how many types of array are there. Like how many type of data types were there. In this similar manner, array is a non-primitive data type. So how many data types and how many non-primitive can be there? Single dimensional and multi-dimensional arrays. When we talk about single dimensional, as its name indicates, it will be with what? It will be with single brackets or subscript, we can say. That means the number of subscript determine the dimension of an array. So single dimensional means it will take single subscript, and when we talk about two dimensional, it will take two subscript, means two brackets, two square brackets, and so on. For three dimensional, isn't it? We use three square brackets, isn't it? So single dimensional is one pair of square bracket, two dimensional is two pair of square bracket, and in the similar manner, three dimensional, that is 3D, is three pair of square brackets. When we take the example of two dimensional in our programming, we use the concept of matrix or matrices, which you have learned in your mathematics, as well as the number format in rows and columns, right? We will do that in our practicals in this video. So first concentrate on the theory portion, that is the basic knowledge about the array, how we will do the arrays, how we will clear the concept of arrays. Isn't it clear? So this is single dimensional and multi-dimensional. Now the next question is, when I use these arrays in practical, how I can declare them. So first of all, we will learn declaration of single dimensional array in C++. Okay, we have to use a data type with the array name and with pair of brackets, as we learned earlier. Width is given inside the pair of brackets. Width is also known as subscript, dimension, or width in some books. So don't worry about it. It is the same thing. When we talk about data type, it is a type of data, as we have already learned about when we learned about the variables. Width is the size of an array and array name is the name of the array as we take the name of variable, right? In this case, we have to use a single pair of brackets for single dimensional array where width will indicate how many values we want to store inside the single dimensional array. Now, when we talk about the declaration of two-dimensional array in C++, the syntax is very much similar to single dimensional array, but there is two pair of brackets there. Why two pair? Because one for the row and one for the columns. So data type is as same. It is a defines the element type of an array, isn't it? And then the pair of brackets are there. Row and column is both for row limit and columns, isn't it? How many rows and how many columns we want to display, or how many rows and how many columns we want to store the data. Array name is the name of array, right? So this is the declaration of two-dimensional array. We have seen two-dimensional array syntax. We have seen one-dimensional array. Now it will be easy for us to move to the practicals to see how practically array is implemented, whether in single dimensional array or in a two-dimensional array. We will take the example of matrix there, as we have seen earlier that the example for the two-dimensional is matrix. We will see that. First we will concentrate on one-dimensional array where one pair of bracket is there and we have to declare the array with the help of one pair of bracket, isn't it? Hope the all basic concept is clear now. Now we can move to the practicals for actual implementation of the array into the programs. How we will define actually in the practicals. So in practicals we will declare the array, we will define the array, and we will assess the values from the array where the values we store. We will see different types of arrays which we learn. We will see how arrays are implemented in practicals. For practicals, we have to go to C++ GUI editor, right? We will start with that header file, isn't it? Suppose there is a program for single dimensional array, how we can use in GUI editor. We require a conio.h for getch. We have to use a namespace, as I have told you earlier lectures in my previous videos why namespace is used, isn't it? Just watch that videos where we have discussed the namespace std, right? Now the first program for single dimensional array is that what was our problem for storing the 100 students or storing the roll number for 100 students, or we will take 10 for example. You can change it to 100 because if I use 100 here, when I compile the program it will be little lengthy. That's why for practice we are taking the array as a width 10. That means we are storing the array variable for 10 values, right? So when we saw the concept of array, we saw that array automatically declares its indexes. So we need a loop for jumping from one index to another index. That means in a layman term we can say array makes its rooms. So we have to mention room number for each person staying there, isn't it? So in our case, what is the person? In our case, the value which we are storing is the person for the room. So I is the index and we have to start from I0 to 10. As we know, array always starts from 0 and ends with L minus 1. In our case, L is what? 10. So it will end with 9. So we use the first for loop for inputting the data to store the 10 numbers. You can say 10 roll numbers. You can put message according to your ease. So I take now the output for this. When I initialize the numbers, when I input the numbers in each box after one by one, right, I have to take the output from 0, because when I run the first for loop, it reaches to the end point, that is reaches to the 9, room number 9. So I have to again restart it with the 0 and end with the 10, and I have to put a cout statement here, isn't it, for printing the value. We will put endl for the new line. In this way, this is a single dimensional array program, isn't it? So we can see from the program there is 2 for loop, right? For one for loop for input, one is for output. We make a getCH statement, right? We put the semicolons and then we run the program for very first single dimensional array. So this is our single dimensional array, and we run this program. We'll see whether our program for the array is working or not. You can see it will come out with a save as screen. So we have to save the screen first. We have to save the output, save the file first for future use, right? So then it will compile and it will show me if there is an error. It will show me that there is no error. Now the input is there. So we are taking the input. Because the loop is for 10 times, it will ask me for the 10 times, because we have defined the array for 10 elements, isn't it? So now if we enter, and we will see the output for the array is there. The output for array is there, isn't it? Now one more limitation is there with the random variables. If we take variables instead of one single array, the storage is randomly, whereas in case of array, the storage is in a contiguous manner, that is one after the another. That means it will take in a contiguous manner. It will not waste the memory randomly. For this, when we use ampersand sign, as we have already learned in C language, ampersand sign is used for address operator. So when we want to see the address of the particular position of an array, index by index, so we can put ampersand sign with the array and we can print it. It will give me the value as well as the address of the array for the given program, for the given problem, that it will clarify that array will store the data one after the another in the memory location inside the computer memory. See, the first location is 0, then second is 4, then 8, then again it's seems contiguous one after the another, isn't it clear? So this is the concept of addresses with the array. If you want to see the location for the particular element stored in an array, you can see with the help of this. You can see when we are inputting the data like this, and we will get the desired output like this. So the array location is at a particular point and it is contiguously increasing with particular sequence. It is not randomly there, right? It's not randomly there. So we can see the address locations with the element over there. So this question was related to entering the 10 values that it will solve if we use less than sign. We have taken the 10 variables or 10 values, right, for a single variable. So here with the address and the values are there. So if we see clearly you make different rooms for different values, right? So this is the concept of single dimensional array. Single dimensional array make the rooms for each value, right? We saw this in the output that it will make you each room for each value, right? So this is the concept for single dimensional array. Now we can modify this program by taking another example. If we say there is an array of integer numbers and we don't want all the numbers should be print. We want only the even numbers from the array, right? So input will be the same to enter the all 10 numbers. If you take n as a limit, you have to enter this and you can put I less than n there. Now for the even numbers, what we have to do? We have seen earlier in if else the logic for even odd. So we will just use array with the odd even logic, which we have already learned in our previous lectures. Okay, that's it. So we will print a of I here, we will put NL, then semicolon, and we will run the program, because we have to make the changes only in the output part, not in input part. We have to print the only even numbers. We have to input the 10 numbers and we want just even numbers. So now we will indent the for loop and then we will run the program. We will see what happens. So we will check, we will go for the output and we will just provide the input first. First input is 23, then we will input again the values, right? Suppose 2, 3, then 21, then we will print 1, 2, then we will print 1, 1, and then input 1, 0, and we will see only the even numbers will be there, which are divisible by 2. So 6 is divisible, 12 and 10 is divisible. Okay, now if we want to make the change for odd numbers, so what we have to do? We have to use a not sign instead of double equals to. That's it. So we will run it again. We can make message for the odd number, because to change this message we will use output for the odd numbers in the array or whatever you want to print the message, right? Now we will run the program. From indexing 0 to 10, it will check one by one which number is divisible or which number is not divisible. Which number is not divisible in our case? See, when we press enter here, we will see the output. What will be the output? So 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 and 11. These are the numbers which are not divisible in my case, what I have input for the array. You can change it, you can change the input you want, and you can check for the even odd numbers, right? This type of array is also the single dimensional array, because we have used a single pair of bracket here, right? One thing you have to note down, you have to use for loop for. You can use while as well, but while loop or do while will be somewhere lengthy for you, right? Because the 3 statements are in the 3 positions. In for loop, you can put all the 3 in a single line. That's why we are using for loop. So we make a for loop for input, we make a for loop for output. So this is the single dimensional array for odd even and for printing the numbers. It will solve you the purpose which was our question at the beginning. Now for example, if there is a case we want to print the elements now in a reverse order. This is the case of single dimensional as well. See what will be the logic for reverse order. What will be the logic? Okay, logic is what? We have to input the values as it is, right? We just change the message here, right? We will, or you can use a new program for this. or comment these things. So I'm just making the changes in that to clear you clearly that it's not so tough to do the all other programs. You have to make little changes. Just you have to clear your concepts first, then you have to make little changes on that program. So after inputting, I will again for the output initialize it at 10 because I have to start with the location. If I use 10, see, I have used 10 and I will run it because when I was using output for array, then I was using less than 10. So I initialize it as a 10 and then I will run this and I will decrement it by I minus minus and I'll check the condition reach to the 0. So what will happen? It will take the value index at the 10, right? But in my case, the width is 10, right? The width is 10. So whether my element at the 10th position will be, displayed on the screen? No, it will not. It will give me the garbage value, right? When I print the number in a reverse order. So we have to do these little mistakes for understanding the concepts. If we do all the things right way, we will not clear our concepts. So see, my output is not in a reverse order. It is somewhere the first number is printed as 1. So I have not inputted the 1 two times. So 199, then 9, then 8, isn't it? It is not in a reverse order. So what we will do for this, we need to rectify our program. We need to rectify where I have, reinitialized the value for I. Isn't it? You saw there, I have mentioned 10. Now I will mention 9 here. And now my program will be correct because in theory we have already learned that what array starts from 0 to L minus 1. Now my output will be okay, right? Because I have mentioned the exact index for the array. See, now the output is very correct, isn't it? You can see now the output is in reverse order, right? The output what we want, right? So you have to mention correctly, you have to mention, remember this, you have to mention correctly the index for the array, right? As array always starts from 0 and ends with limit minus 1. That is, limit is what? Length given. Okay, we can do many exercises for single dimensional array as well as for different patterns related to single dimensional array. Okay, let's move on. Now we do the practicals for multi-dimensional array and we will take the example of matrix. As I have already told you, example for two-dimensional array is the concept of matrix. For the matrix, what we will do, we will take a two-dimensional array. We will take row limit, column limit, and for two loops for I and j. We have to use nested loop here. As we have already completed our nested loop in our previous lectures, please go through them and then the concept will be clear for you. So I am again inputting the column limit for the columns, number of columns you want to. Now we will enter the value for the matrix. For this, what we have to do, we have to use for loop. One outer for loop and one inner for loop. Outer for loop, as we have already studied in nested loops earlier in our previous lectures, the first for loop outer is for the number of rows, and then we will again use another for loop by taking the j variable and limiting it to the column limit, right? And this is for what? This is for the columns. One loop is for the rows and one loop is for the columns. As you all know, matrix is the concept of putting the elements in a rows and columns. So we will enter, then we will do the solution for the output. We have to again use the nested loop and by declaring the matrix again and by declaring the cout statement here. We will put double quotes with a single space as we have already done this in your nested loops. We put a slash n here for the new line, isn't it? So we will put a get ch and we will just print a message here. We will run the program and we will see what happens, whether my output is there or not. So I will compile the program, isn't it? I will just check for the input. I will check for the input and I will check for the output. So I have given the row limit 3, column limit 3 and then enter the matrix. Output is there. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Isn't it? So output is in rows and columns as well. So this is the concept of multi-dimensional array or 2D array. 2D is we are putting two pair of brackets here, right? So this is the concept. Now we can change the question by adding the another thing in it. For example, now if we want, there are two matrices, isn't it? We have done in mathematics as well, and we want that thing in this. That means we want sum of two matrices. So how can we do this? We have to use sum of two matrices. That means we require what? How many number of matrix elements there? 2. That means we have to declare two two-dimensional arrays and one for the summation. As we have seen in our first program, for sum of the two numbers we require two variables, and for sum we require another third variable. So in the similar manner as in mathematics we have done, the sum of the matrix is like one matrix adding with the another matrix. That means first 0, 0 element is add with the 0, 0 element of another matrix. So this is the logic. So first what we have to do, we have to input the variables as we have seen in nested loops how the variables for nested loop is there. So at the 0, 0 position, at the 0, 1 position, in this manner, and we will make an input statement for another matrix. We have used a one input statement for M matrix, and then we have used input statement for which type of matrix, that is N matrix. Both the matrices are there for input, right? What we have to do this again for the summation of the two matrices. So what we will do, we will put semicolon and then we will again use the for loop, that is nested for loop, for summation, because sum is with the help. If you have seen the sum of matrix before in mathematics, sum is the sum of two matrices from the same position and assigned to the third matrix on the same position. That means we have to add, for example, index 0, 0 to the 0, 0 index of the another matrix and put the element at the 0, 0 position. That's the reason we are using ij many times. So if ij is 0 for m, it is always for n, and it is again for the s, isn't it? So this is the logic behind the summation of matrix. So when how the array is working, when the I is 0, j is 0. So all the variables are 0, 0. Then for next time 0, 1, isn't it? Depends on the nested loop, isn't it? We have already discussed nested loop, how nested loop works. So it will be easy for you now, right? So this is the concept of matrix, that is summation of the two matrix. Now it's time to print the matrix now. So how we will be print the matrix? If we have calculate the sum, so output for the first matrix is there, output for the second matrix is very easy. So we have to change just the labels for it. So this is the matrix 1, and we will copy paste it for the another variable. We will change it with the n variable, isn't it? So we will put a message here, output for matrix 2, isn't it? So this is matrix 2 with the semicolon. Now for what? Summation, we require again the 2 for loops, because every time when we are going to row and column, both the row and column positions are changed, right? When we saw the case of matrix, right? When we do it diagrammatically, we will see every time the row and column are changing. So row, if the row is 0, column is 0, so position will be 0 0. So that's the reason we have used nested loops, right? At one time we have to move from row and column both. Now we will put what? Output for what? Sum. So we will take the variable s here and we will change the message from matrix 2 to summation of the matrix, isn't it? Whatever you want to print the message, you can. So I typing sum of 2 matrix, isn't it? So we can take matrices, because there are multiple matrix, more than one more matrix. So this is okay. Now we will compile the program and see. The code is lengthy, but it is very easy. We just copy and paste the code. If one code is clear to you, all the other code will be clear. So that's the reason when you are using the concept of matrix, the code is little lengthier than the simple programming, isn't it? See, if I give the row limit 2, column limit 2, enter the value for matrix 1, enter the value for matrix 2. See, output for matrix 1 is this, output for matrix 2 is this, and sum of the two matrices is this. So what it is doing, it is adding the same position elements, right? So now we can check it for, now again for the row limit. If we change the row limit, we change the row limit to 3. That means how many elements will be there? There will be 9 elements. 3 into 3 is 9. So we have to enter the 9 elements, right? So we have to enter the again the same number of elements here, right? See, now matrix for the first will be this, matrix for the second will be this, and see summation. So 1 plus 9 is 10, 2 plus 8 is 10, 3 plus 7 is 10, isn't it? So position 0 0 is added with position 0 0 and put into the 0 0 position. That's why the reason behind taking the ij variable same. We are not using the another variable, because by putting the same ij variable, it's easy to remember and easy to learn the concept of summation of matrix, isn't it? So this is for the matrix summation, right? In this manner you can do many programs with the help of nested loops, many more. You can say transpose of matrix, reverse of matrix, multiplication of matrix. Okay, now there is another concept which is little confusing for you: character array and array of characters, right? These are the two concepts which are very much similar. While we are watching the screen, it is very much similar: character array and array of characters. But these are the two different fundas when we are going to do that into the practicals. Character array is something little different. So what is that? So we can say, we can categorize the both, or we can differentiate the both by like a character array is a sequence of characters, right? Just as the numeric array is a sequence of numbers, as we have seen, isn't it? So character array is nothing but a sequence of characters. Array of character is also the sequence of characters. Then what is the difference? Okay, the difference is what? You have to terminate it with a escape sequence called as null or /0, that is \0, right? Right? We can also call them as a string. Whenever we are saying string, we are saying string concept. The string concept is nothing but it is a concept where we use the null termination. So this is the basic difference. again read this yourself and see what is the difference between character array and array of character. While declaring, you will not see any major change, but while inputting and while doing the programs, you will see a major change, right? So while declaration, when we are saying how to declare and what is the main differences there. So first of all, we will declare with it char, array name, width, isn't it? Because it is an array, right? So when we talk about character array, it will be like the word is computer is there. The screen is visible to you. Now if I talk about array of characters, the word will be like this into the array, but at the end one null termination will be there. That is /0 will be there, right? So you have to remember this point while working with the strings or working with the array of characters. There is automatically, whenever you declare them or whenever you input them, automatically it will terminate with /0, because there are many more operations which we have to done with the strings or array of characters. That's why their /0 is required. When we talk about character array, we don't require any /0. We will just input like numeric array. We declare with the char variable. For example, char variable n is there, 10 semicolon, and for character array we have to declare a variable I for the looping purpose, isn't it? Right? We will use while loop here for this program, right? We will use while loop for this because here a particular condition we will check. So first of all, what the program is, we will make a comment for this, and we will make the comment like print the text character by character. That means it's clear that the program which we are doing is a array of characters where we will print the character by character, each alphabet or each character over there. They can be a numeric, they can be alphabetic, but we the sign for this is that it is a character because we have declared it as a character. So we will enter the text now, right? We will enter the text, what the text is, cin, and then the variable n is used. Okay, we will use the n variable. And now what we have to do, we take the input statement. Now we have to print the character by character, not the whole text. Like for example, computer is there, we don't want to print it as a string, we want to print it as a character by character. So what we already discussed, we discussed that when array of character is there, it will take at the last alphabet or last character is there, null. It is terminated with null. So what we will do, we will make a looping statement here and we will check for while, right? While the last character. So last character will be denoted by n of I, isn't it? So now we have used the concept of looping here and we will run the program. See, we will enter the text here and we will see the loop will compile till the null and character by character my element is there, right? So I can say when the null concept is there, we can use character by character concept. See, I have put a single space after printing the n of I. So how the loop will execute? It will execute till I get the null position. So null position is at the end. So whatever I have make the width, now my condition is not depends on the width, it will depend on the null. For example, if I use a text HELL, for example, or HELLO, it will denote like this. So you will run it again and see. You will take the case of student here. So character by character is there. student, isn't it? So null concept is there for terminating the text or terminating the string. We can say this concept is related to array of characters. I have input the /n here. Now what will be the changes? The changes will be, now the text will be in a character by character but in a new line, right? student is there, isn't it? You can see on the screen. Now we can make some little changes again in the program, right? To check whether now the output is correct or not. For example, if I use the case of for loop here, right? If I initialize the variable I is equals to 0 here, and I can do, but while loop will be easy for us to remember. We can do it with the help of for loop. See, I just put the condition I0, put the condition n of I not null, and I will check I plus plus here, and I will cut the I plus plus from the loop. So I put all the three in first line in the for loop where it is with the declared with the semicolon. So I plus plus here, and I will delete I plus plus from here. Now I will run the program. Program is okay with the help of for loop as well. With the help of while loop, it is little bit clearer. Enter the text, and I am entering the text, for example, word the computer. Now the computer word is in /n format. Why? Because we are printing the text character by character, right? We are printing the text character by character. So this is the case of, we can say, it is inputting the data inside the computer memory as a what? Array of characters, that's also called as string. Isn't it clear? So now when we change this program by, we want to change the program by checking what? Print the character array. See what the question is now. Print the character array. Now we will change this program. This was array of character. Now the character array, what the changes will be there? We will not use the concept of null here now. We will not use the concept of null here. So what we will do? We will say I0, I less than 10 and I plus plus. Isn't it? Because we are doing the concept of character array, and we will print like we have print the numeric array earlier in the similar manner. Just one change is there. The declaration of the variable is character type. Other changes are the same, isn't it? We have to input, we have to print. Now we will run it and we will see what will be the output. See, the output is there. Output is very much similar to the, you can say when we are using the text, isn't it? So output is very similar to that. We can see here output is similar to your earlier, question. But the difference is that it is not terminated with, null, because we have input the 10 characters and the output is of 10 characters, isn't it? We enter the text for the 10 characters here. We can type like this without the space. When we press enter here, we will get the desired output with the, I have put /n, so /n will be there for the new line, isn't it? So we do the both questions related to array of characters, that is a string, and character array, that is a bunch of characters, isn't it clear? So you have to clear this concept because many students have these doubts, right? So now we will do something with this character array. Again, we will make a comment here, right? We will make a comment for the other program. What we want to do, we want to work with now again with your character array or array of characters. just we make the change here to print the string, and we use some string operations with the array of characters, right? As we told in theory that array of character is also called as strings. So what treatment or what functions or what operations can be manipulated on string, right? Now when we talk about string, we will do a program here and we will see what happens. If I use cin statement, right? If I use cin statement for inputting the string, right? If I input the text using the cin statement, what will be happen? We will see in the program, right? First of all, we will delete the code. Okay, now we will use cout. We will enter the text here. Okay, we will use cin statement here for the n variable. Okay, we are not doing here character array. We are doing the program of string. So what operations or what the things or what the limitations are there, we will see, right? So cout n. We have seen this program earlier also, but we will see with a little change. Okay, we will put semicolon at the cout statement and we will run this program. Okay, so we will just run this program and we will see what happens. We will run this program by inputting, for example, we will input at the output screen computer, computer, computer. It's okay, computer is there, very good. Now we will run it again, right? We will again run it and we will input is as, for example, programming. Very good, it's okay, no doubt, it's very good. Now what we will do then? We will do some operation on strings. Which type of operation we will do? We will do the calculation of our text length here. For example, if I enter computer, how many characters are there? What we will do in case of strings? As we all know, we have learned string is terminated with what? Null. So we will again take the case of null and we will put the condition like this, right? First of all, we have to initialize I as well. We will increment the value till the null is there. We will initialize the value I here. We need to initialize. We will print cout, isn't it? The length is. Okay, we make a space here. Okay, now there is a variable for length I, isn't it? So semicolon. Now we will run this program and we will see the results, whether our results are true or not. So if we take the input, we will run the program and we will take the input as a text computer, computer, computer. So how many characters are there? 8. So length should be 8. Yes, it is giving me the length is 8. So my program is working, isn't it? So this is the how we can calculate the length for a given text. So we will make just some decorations here. We will put endl here, isn't it? Because we have to take the text here for text with the space. So we will run it again. We will see. We will give another variable here for the value of computer and we will check it again for this now. See what happens. Computer is a machine. Total characters should be more than 8. But see, now the text is only the computer and length is 8. It should not happen, but it is there on the screen. So what will be the solution for it? Whether we will go with this? No, we make a solution for it, because when you have learned C language, there is one scanf, and when the limitation of scanf is there, with the space, scanf does not get its input. In the similar manner, Cin does not get its input with the space. Without space, it can. Now, for this, what we have to use? We have to use a getS function, right? And we will just input the n variable. We will use semicolon. We will use a header file over there, because gets is used for getting a complete string with the space, you can say. Not without space. Without space, Cin can get, right? But if the case is for the complete line, because complete line itself is a string, so we'll make a header file here, include stdio.h, right, for getS function prototype. So we will run the program again. We will execute the program and see whether our output is there or not. We will give the same line which we have already input in our previous try. We will say computer is a machine. Now what happened? See the magic now, right? Very good. The output is now there. The length is 21. The text is computer is a machine. So this thing you have to always remember. Whenever you are using string with the space, you have to use getS function. Without the space, you do not require getS function. But you should not use everywhere getS. If your string does not contain any space, don't use getS. Isn't it clear? Now, moving to the next question, what will be the next part? If we say string is a case where null is terminated, right? If I take another example for reversing the text, that means if the text is given COM, the answer should be MOC. That means a reverse of the text. So what the changes are there which I have to make in our program? So there are little changes. See, that's the reason I'm again telling you that clear your concepts. If you clear one concept, automatically second question will be cleared by you, isn't it? So what we do, we will take that text, we will just make a loop for making the counter to reach the end of the loop, isn't it? If the COM is there, so we will terminate with the null, and we will just make a loop for just making a cycle to reach the end position. Now we will make another loop by decrementing the position, because we have not to print null here. We have to print before the null, that is COM. We have to print M first, then O, then C. So we have to decrement first, then we will make another loop here, because we have learned loops earlier. So it must be clear to you now. I greater than equals to 0. I will print n of I. I will decrement it by minus minus, that is I is equals to I minus 1. That's it. Now if I run this program, it will give me the result. One time I have to make a loop just to reach the end, then to the beginning. So I take a text like this, computer, the reverse will be there, RET, isn't it? RETUMOC. That's it, isn't it? Now if you want to more visible and more clarity in the program, you can put a cout statement here. We will put cout statement, the reverse of the text is this, or you can put any according to your convenience, you can put the statement, right? Okay, so terminated with what? Semicolon. That is very must in programming, whether you are doing C or C++ programming. So you have to terminate it with semicolon, right? Now we will run it again and we will see the output. We will take the input for the string and we will just reverse the text. We have input the computer again, Now it's more visible. The text is computer, the reverse text is RETUPMOC. Isn't it? That's it. Very good. So, what we treat with the strings? First we calculate the length, then we reverse the text. Isn't it? In this way, you can make many more changes in the text and make many more operations on the given string. Right? So we will run it again for some more thing. Computer is a machine, and we will reverse the line. See, we have input through the getS. That's the reason it is getting the complete line and it is reversing the complete line. Isn't it? So this is all for strings today, and you can make many more questions or many more problems on this concept. Isn't it? Try at home and let me know in comments whether you find any difficulty. Make your concepts clear before doing the practical work. This is the main key for the good programming, right? While going for the programming in practical, first clear the concepts in the theory portion, right? If you go step by step, you will automatically clear your concepts, right? You have to remember the concept of null while you are using strings, right? If you learn this, if you make more programs out of it, then automatically strings will be clear to you, right? Okay, at the last, as I have promised you, we will make a project at the end. So we will make a small project work where we will declare all the types of arrays here, whether it's a character array, whether it's an int array, whether it's float array or string array. So we will do all the types of arrays here, and we will make some small project out of it for you. You will also practice at your home. See, just watch what we are doing, what we are making in our project. So project is to enter the name, roll number and marks of 10 students and display the output, right? So what we have to do? We have to declare the variables according to our requirement. So what is our requirement? Our requirement is name, which is type of string. Our requirement is roll number, which is type of integer, and marks, which is type of float, right? Marks can be in points as well, so that's why we are taking marks in floats. Why we have make two-dimensional in case of string? Because as we saw earlier, for taking a single name, we have to use a single bracket, isn't it? So for taking multiple names, we have to use double brackets, isn't it? So now the procedure for inputting the string will be like this. Just see what I'm typing on the screen for the programming. So it is clear to now, isn't it? We are making a for loop for getting the text. Why you are using getS here? We have already done this. GetS for complete name, that is with the surnames, isn't it? So we will use cout statement for making a statement here. Enter the name, isn't it? Okay, we will put semicolon now at the end. Right. We are just using I plus 1 here. For what? We are just using I plus 1 because the I is initializing with 0. There is no number or there is no roll number, isn't it? No numbering is start with 0. So we will increment it with 1, I plus 1. So when I enter the name of the student number will be 1. because initial value is 0, so 0 plus 1 will be 1 the first time. Next time it will be automatically 2. So I'm just making the project, so project should be clear to the user. Enter the name of number 1 student, then get S. In the similar manner, I will enter the roll number. So I will copy paste and make the changes for this. So instead of using name there, I will use roll number, isn't it? Rest of the thing will be same, isn't it? So for now, what I can use, whether I have to use getS? No, getS is only for getting the string, or you can say character, that is array of characters, isn't it? So we can't use numeric data type with getS, right? You have to remember this. So again, scene statement for what? The float value we will change here for marks of the number 1. 0 plus 1, 1. Isn't it? Loop will again increment, and again it will ask me for the 10 students, right? So this is the logic for inputting the text, right? Clear? Okay. Now what is rest? Now we have completed the process of inputting the text for our project. Now we will do what? We will use output statement for separating the input, right? We will use here the statement here, output of the above input, right? What we input here, we will use slash and 2 times. Why? Because we make the 2 enter lines now, and again the for loop will here, because for loop is start with 0 and end with 10, and before the input is up to 10. That means 10 times it will ask me, and now 10 times I have to print it. So I have to print what? I have to print name, I have to print roll number, and I have to print marks. In the similar manner, we will format the text. We will format the text here also, like we formatted at the input statement. We have formatted enter the name of number 1. So here we will format like name of, isn't it, student. For example, we take student number, and then we will concatenate as we concatenate in the above, I plus 1, and we will take again the concatenation here, isn't it? And then we will put what we have to put. Name of the student number is 0. Is name will be what? What will be the variable for name? N of I. So we will use N of I here, right? And now what I have to use at the end? At the end what I will use, otherwise it will make hodgepodge output. So we require something more here. We will use concatenation here again, and we will use what? We will use here end L statement or slash T statement for the tabular, or end L for the new line. It depends on you how you want to look your output. So first of all we will use with slash T, then we will use with end L, right? So slash T is there. We will do the same procedure for the other outputs, that means for the roll number and for the marks, by changing some changes there for the variables and for the messages, right? We will see. Now I will take the cursor and I will press enter to enter it into the next line to read more properly, right? It's in one line, it's not visible to you, so I'll put an enter before the cout statement of the next, right? And the text will jump automatically to the next line, that it will be more visible for me. Formatting the text is very important. While making any project, formatting of text is more important than inputting, because if you have not formatted the text properly, the output will not be visible properly to your screen. And if there is a proper formatting of input and output, if you will not put proper /t and proper /n over there, it will not show you the proper output. So these little changes you have to remember, right? So we will press enter here and we will press again enter at the end to more readability, right? So we will press semicolon at the end and we will run the program and we'll see what happens, because we have used /t instead of using /n. So output will be in a tabular form rather than in a new line form. At the end we have to put enter, because after one record the second record is visible on the second line, isn't it? If we press enter at the end in the all the three lines, the records will be in a vertical form. Now our records will be first record, then the second record, then the third record, isn't it? Now we will make some changes here. We will not run it for 10 times for our ease. We will run it for 2 times, because 10 times it will take little more time. So we will just go for 2 times, right? If we go for 10 times, it will make some see. Okay, one more change what we have to do here, we have to use a f+ statement for clearing the input, previous input. It is the only for the compiler, it's not for your own programming, it's for the compiler, it vary compiler to compiler. So we have to use f+ statement when we are using different types of what data. So use the f+ stdin while using this type of different type of data types using arrays. When you are making a simple program without an array, then it can be a problem. So you have to use f+ stdin and you have to try it where I have to put. So you have to put between, you can say f+ stdin between getS and cout. So we will print between, because the problem is with getS when we are making the mixed data type, that is string data type and float data type and the integer type. So it is the problem of compiler, it's not the problem of your logic. So you have to just use this function, and for this you have to declare the header file stdio.h, which I have already for getS. So f+ stdin I will cut from here and I will put at the before getS. Now I will run it again, then my problem will be solved, isn't it? Now we can see, enter the name of the first student, enter the roll number, enter the marks, enter the name of the second and the roll number and the marks, isn't it? See, my output is there in a tabular form, you can see. So we make some little changes over there, and now again we will run it and we will run again. So we will see, this is my program. We have just changed /2 for just for our easiness. You can use less than 10, we just use 2 for our convenience. You can use limit less than 50, less than 20, as you wish, isn't it? So this is the project work which we have done with the multiple data types. So you run this program again for confirming whether my output is properly there or not. You take the input again and you run the program. See, the problem is there again. So what we have done, we have choose the wrong value here. This is not the problem with the program, this is a problem while we are inputting in our output screen. We will just again execute the program with the proper output. We will execute with the f+ statement here, right? And we will compile it. See, we will input properly and carefully here, right? We will enter the name, we will enter the roll number, and we will enter the marks here. See, the clear output is there, right? We can make now any formatting here again to change the output format. Whether you take many more spaces, then output will be more clear. So it's up to you what you want to do with your project, what you want to do. You can use slash in here, like you can use endl here. If you use slash in or endl here, what will be the output? Output will be in a vertical form. See what happens. Again we will input the text, name of the first student, then the roll number of the first student, then the marks, then again the name, isn't it? Then again the roll number, then again the marks. We will enter and see. Now you can format, you can decorate the project as your wish. It's up to you how you can declare and how you can decorate your project. It's up to you. For example, if I input like this and I have make the changes, if I use XYZ and the student marks is like this, enter the name for the second, enter the roll number for the second, then the marks for the second. See, now my output is like this. Isn't it more clear because I have used spaces there? Now if you want, now when you see this program, so we have used different data types, right? We have used different data types for different values, isn't it? Okay, now what we can do, we can make some more changes to the project to visible more clear and good to see. So what we will do, we will make some more cout statements. First we will run this program again and we will see how the program is looking now. We will take the value because we have not used the m variable for the marks, instead of we are using n variables over there, so we have make changes over there. Now see what is the result. See, now result is okay, isn't it? Name is there, roll number is there, marks is there. Name is there, roll number is there, marks is there. Now if you want output more clear, as I told you earlier, we will make cout statements and we will just make some formatting string here, like star I have used, or you can use hash sign, you can use @ sign. So I am making star sign here. I will copy this before as well, or I will copy. Now I will run this. See what happens. Put the semicolon there. As we have copied this, I will put the semicolon over there. Now compile and run it, isn't it? So output will be more clear and more visible to you, isn't it? It depends on how you decorate your program and how you modify your program, isn't it? That's it. It's very much clear now. Now I can use more decoration now, just to separate the program. So I will take the cursors at this point and I will say cout. I will copy paste it. I will run the program again. See, now more clarity is there. I will put semicolon at the end. I have to put semicolon, otherwise it will print me an error. So I will print semicolon here again, right? So run the program. We will run the program and we will see more clear will be the project, isn't it? So run this program again. It will ask you for the input as usual. So the input is as the same. Now output will be little beautiful now, isn't it? See, my output for the project is more beautiful. In this manner you can decorate your project your own, and no specializations required for this. Just what you want to do it in a proper way with proper syntax and proper rules, isn't it? So it's all for single dimensional array and multi-dimensional array. Hope you have understand all the concepts related to arrays, related to multi-dimensional arrays. Okay, so I have made little changes over there now, and again I am running this project. It will become more clearer again. In this manner you can keep trying, keep changes, and in this way you can make many more projects like this, and for grading as well as for the students, for mark list, for salary slip of the employees, you can generate many more projects. Hope this lecture will be very useful for you. Okay, that's it all for today. Have a nice day and keep trying. Believe in yourself. Always try to clear your concepts, your basic concepts, and you will, believe me, you will one day you will become a good programmer if you clear your basics. Basics concepts are very important for a student, for a programmer. So keep trying, never give up, stay safe, and we will meet soon in our next lecture. Have a good day.